you ever been so popular that everybody wanted a seat at your table, only to find out that they loved your money more than you? Have you ever woke up in a bed that you shouldn't have been in? Maybe drank too much that you're not sure how you got home? Maybe you took some kind of powder or pill to forget the pain? Did you ever spend your last $10 gambling, hoping to pay the rent? Have you ever rummaged through a trash can to find something to eat? Have you ever been that desperate that you didn't know what to do? Have you ever felt that alone? All of those friends that you thought you had, they abandoned you. You burnt all kinds of bridges. You hurt all the people that truly did love you. Have you wasted everything that you were ever given on despicable things? Things that you are too ashamed to mention? Have you ever found yourself with nothing? No money, no food, no hope, no home, no place to go? That's me. Look at me. I smell and look worse than filthy pigs. I didn't always look like this. I was quite the looker when I left home. I had lots of money. I still can't believe my father gave me my share of the inheritance. Oh, I hated farm life. I hated it. I hated everything about it. I hated the smells. I hated the work. I hated the early hours and the late hours. It never stopped. I think more than anything, I hated all of the rules that my father had. I couldn't wait to leave home. I couldn't wait to get out of that small town and live, experience something new. I knew there was more to life than just that. There had to be. I remember that first night in the big city, the lights, all the people, the music, the noise. It was so exciting. Everybody was having such a good time. I met some wild people. I've done some wild things. A bunch of us ended up back at my penthouse. We kept ordering food and drinks, and we partied for days, non-stop. I was finally doing all of the things that I had dreamed about. It was so much better than that farm life. So much better than all of those rules. It was amazing. I knew that first night I was never ever going home. No way. I wasn't going back to working on that farm. I wasn't going back to obeying all those rules that my father laid down. I can't believe my brother wanted to stay. Why would you want to stay and do that? It was amazing. Well, until it wasn't. I wasn't very smart with all that money. I never thought it would run out. But when you're paying for a penthouse and all of your friends and all of the food and all of the drinks that are nonstop, and some of the things that I'm just too ashamed to tell you about. The money goes pretty quickly. I was too proud to work, too stupid to invest any of it. Eventually I got kicked out of the penthouse, couldn't pay the bill. We destroyed a lot of things. You know, all those friends that I thought really liked me. They didn't. They disappeared when the money disappeared. I was so alone. So alone. And the economy crashed. I wasn't really the only one living in hard times. There were a lot of people going without. It was hard to find work. I finally found a local farmer. How ironic. Put me back on a farm, right? Feeding pigs. I never had to do that when I lived at home. That was for the other people that were hired. They slopped the hogs. But you know what? I was so hungry that I wanted to eat that slop. I'll never forget that smell. It's disgusting when I think about it. And one day I just sat in that dirty pig pen, and I was so mad at myself, so ashamed of what I had been doing, so ashamed that I wasted all of that money that my father had worked so hard for. For what? I had nothing to show for it. Nothing. And I knew my father would be so disappointed and ashamed of all the vile things that I had been doing. He raised me better than that. Why would he give me all that money and let me leave? Why would he do that? I had done nothing to earn that money. My brother, he was the one who always worked hard. And I sat there that day, literally covered in pig crap. And I cried out, what do I do? What do I do? I can't keep going on like this. I'll starve to death. And it got eerily quiet. Even the pigs didn't make a sound. And I began to think about those people who worked for my father. And they did the worst jobs that nobody wanted to do. But you know what they had? They had food to eat. They had food to eat. Maybe I could go home, beg for my father's forgiveness, not to be his beloved again. I didn't deserve that honor. But to be forgiven just enough to do whatever nobody else wanted to do on that farm. I'll slop the hogs. Whatever, just to have something to eat. I wanted there to be another way, but this was the only way. I knew it. I had nowhere else to go. And I didn't want to face my father. It's not looking like this. But I was at rock bottom. And that was the only place I knew to go. And I'm not going to lie to you, that journey home, it was so hard. I was so full of pride and arrogance when I left home. But look at me, broke and broken. I hated myself. I hated myself for all the things that I'd done, but you know what bothered me the most is going home and seeing the disappointment in my father's eyes. What would he think? But I deserved that look of disappointment. I deserved any punishment and judgment that he gave me. I deserved to be disowned. Before I knew it, I was at our road, and I stopped for a moment, and I said, "Is this what I'm supposed to do?" I bowed my head, and the sweat was trickling off my face, and I took in a deep breath, and I took that step down that old dusty lane. And I heard something in the distance. I stopped, I raised my head, and I rubbed the dust and the tears out of my eyes, and I could hardly believe what I was seeing. And it was my father. And he was running as fast as I ever saw him run. He was running towards me with his arms wide open. And he said, "Shawna, my beloved, you were dead, and you're alive. I thought you were lost, but here you are, you're found." He was so excited to see me. Look at me. Why was he so excited to see me? And before I knew it, he scooped me up in those arms, and he held me so tight, and I just went, and I cried. I said, "Father, I am so sorry. I am sorry for all that I have done. I have sinned against heaven, and I have sinned against you, and I do not deserve to be called your beloved." And he shouted, but not at me. He was shouting at someone to go get the finest clothes that we had, to go and clean up his beloved. Go get the rings, go get the shoes, go get that fattened calf, because you know what? We're going to celebrate. We're going to celebrate because my beloved has returned home. The one that I thought was dead is alive. The one who has been lost is found. We're going to celebrate. And man, that party, I thought that first night in the city was awesome. But this party was different. All of the people around the table were there, and they loved me. And I felt that real, genuine love. It had never gone anywhere. It had always been there. The love that I had taken for granted, the love that I squandered away, was still there. I was so overwhelmed. But I began to look around the table, and I realized that somebody was missing. My brother was not at the table. Where was my brother? I had missed him so much. I had to just hug him and tell him how sorry I was for leaving. So I went to look for him, and I stepped outside, and I saw him talking to my father, but my brother was angry. And he said to my father, "What are you doing? Why are you throwing a feast for this despicable sibling of mine, your beloved?" And my father looked at him with those same kind eyes. And he said, "My beloved son was lost, and he's been found. We have to celebrate. We have to celebrate this happy day." And my brother goes, "Why would you do that? Why would you do that? After all they have done, all that they squandered away on who knows what. Why would you do that?" I stayed. that stayed here and I did all the work. I did everything that you told me to do. And this is what you give him? Your beloved? You never threw me a party for me and my friends. And my father said to him, my beloved son, you have stayed by my side, and everything that I have is already yours. But this beloved was dead. But look, they're alive. They were lost. They were separated from me. And now they've been found. Come, my beloved, come inside and celebrate with us. Come and celebrate with us. Quite a powerful story, is it not? It depicts a father's love, God's love for us, even when we wander away, even when we do vile things that keep us separated from God. God doesn't run away. God stays. God waits. God is patient with us, always ready to accept us, always running towards us when we decide to make that decision to return home. But it's also a story about the one that didn't ever leave the flock, right? The one who stayed, the one who was faithful and obedient. They were at church every Sunday. They were on all the committees, and they did all of the work. But sometimes we have to be careful, because that can make us judgmental. And that can make us bitter towards those who go out there and live however they want to until they're just ready to return home. And we don't want to celebrate that. But we should. We should. We're going to do things a little different, in case you haven't noticed today. But I want to give you some time to think about what you've seen, what you've heard. I want to invite the praise band to come up. I know sometimes we get in a hurry. We have to stay in the order, and we have to do what we got to do to get out of here on time. And we have time. But we don't always take the time to reflect on the word that's been shared with us. And so as the band plays, I want to give you this opportunity to sit quietly in your seat. I want you to think about, who are you in this story today? Are you the parent who has been waiting and running towards those with open arms? Are you the wayward child, the one who has run away and has gotten far away from God as you possibly can? And you're doing things that keep you separated from God. Maybe you're at rock bottom, maybe you haven't gotten there yet. Or are you the one who's feeling a little bit righteous, and you've done all the work and you've stayed, but you have judgment in your heart, bitterness in your heart, and you don't want to celebrate those who find God again? Who are you in this story today? Where are you at? Think about that. You may stay in your seat. You may come to the prayer bench and you can pray. I will be at the back door with you. want to pray with me, I'd be honored to pray with you. Just be in God's presence.